Hi, everyone. I'm going to let people roll in. I assume people will be coming in and out a little bit. I'm Dr. Joy, in case you didn't know. It's great to be here with you. I wanted to offer this opportunity to do some Q&A around my coaching program, which starts a week from tomorrow, November 4th. I know it's a big investment of your time, your energy, your journey, and questions do come up. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to answer any questions that you may have that are not addressed on the registration page or any other questions you had about the group or individual components of the group. It has both. I get many requests for individual sessions only. Many people consider themselves not group people, or they feel like their journey would be more efficient if they just worked with me one-on-one. And while the individual sessions are game changing, and I've shared some client experiences around that, the group is the foundation because it would take me probably 5 additional individual sessions to teach you all the things that we learn in group for each component. So it would make it completely impossible for most people to afford or to put in the time and effort. So it really is the most efficient combination, with the group giving you a foundation of strategies and didactics and concepts as the foundation for your recovery. And then if you choose to do individual work with me, really getting into the nitty-gritty of the details of your life and seeing how those things apply or don't apply to you, but you come in already 10 steps ahead to those individual sessions and can get really the maximum out of those by having this group as a foundation. So I want to just jump right in. Again, the group meets 3 Mondays of a month, every month for 6 months. There are some occasional schedule changes due to holidays or medical stuff or things like that, but you'll always receive ample notice if that is the case. All the sessions are recorded. Many people choose to attend group only on recording, never come live, whether it's because their schedule doesn't allow it, or they're in a different time zone, or they just prefer it that way. And you can really get the most out of it either way. If you have coaching questions that you would like addressed and you cannot come live, there's always the opportunity to submit those questions ahead of time through my assistant, and then I will answer them in the coaching call. And about half the group each time or more are returning group and individual coaching clients. And why is that? Because recovery is a journey. It is not one and done. It takes time. And I think that 6 months I just would like to share this because I hope that you don't do this to yourself if you decide to join us. People put this arbitrary deadline on themselves that by the end of the 6 months, they must be like totally 100% where they want to be and everything needs to be perfect. And that creates kind of stress and pressure on the nervous system that is very counterproductive. Some people reach their goals much more quickly. Sometimes it takes people 2 or 3 rounds of group to really get where they fully need to be, because for most people who are here, the issues and challenges that you're coming for help with have been decades in the making. And they're not undone in one session or 1 month or always even 1 year. But I give you tools to give you some quick results in terms of your mindset and in terms of feeling relief in terms of your nervous system and shifting your energy and really teaching you to master your own energy. I'm a big believer that when you are able to master and harness your own energy, you have a superpower that 99% of the people don't have, and it really translates into every single area of your life. So we work on 3 levels. We work on the conscious level, helping work with thoughts, concrete worldly things that you're struggling with, mindset, cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, all these different kind of therapeutic tools that are empirically validated for the treatment of eating disorders and other mental health issues. Then we work on a subconscious level, doing things like meditation and emotional freedom technique, EFT, also called tapping, to help uproot some subconscious patterns and blocks that may be running the show and creating a pattern of self-sabotage or holding you back from your goals. And then we work on an energetic level, helping you shift this whole energy body that surrounds you. You may not be aware of it, but it surrounds you, and using that to really harness and manage your energy. And so by combining these three different levels, my goal is to create a complete healing experience for you. I spent my first 10 years of my career working very traditionally. I helped to start the UCSD Eating Disorder Research and Treatment Center, which is one of the most highly renowned treatment centers in the world, and brought and innovated many programs there that are still highly, highly lauded. And even with all of that, I could see that the clients that I was working with were only getting to a certain place in their journey. And then there was like so much more healing that needed to happen that traditional therapeutic tools just did not address. And I've always been a student of spirituality and on my own path of growth, progress, and recovery. And I kind of held myself back from bringing all these other tools that I had learned and used on myself into that kind of setting. I didn't necessarily feel that that was the right framework. But I eventually, over the years, have really brought them very deeply into this work that I do with all of you to really allow you, to the best of my ability, every tool that you could want or need to help you achieve a full recovery, to reach your goals, to feel happy along the way, really not postponing your happiness until you've reached the finish line, because the finish line could be a year or 2 years away, and we can be happy today. And I teach you the tools for doing so. I'm not only a licensed clinical psychology with a PhD in clinical psychology, but I'm also a trained yoga and meditation teacher and a trained practitioner of emotional freedom technique. And these other modalities have allowed me to really marry the best of Western medicine with alternative and integrative modalities that I think are very important for healing. One of the things that we really focus on, especially early on in group, is learning about the nervous system and teaching you how to regulate your nervous system. Because I have found again and again that the thing that leads people off track with their food most often, other than eating highly addictive foods that they're having difficulty letting go of, but one of the root issues that really leads people to eat addictively and have other addictive behaviors is this inability to regulate one's nervous system. And again, once you learn how to really tune into your own nervous system, to assess your own nervous system, and ultimately to become a self-regulator of your nervous system, the world really does become your oyster, and you no longer need to reach out to outside substances or behaviors to calm down, to numb out, to deal with stress, and to deal with all the lifiness of life that we all deal with. Life is always in session, and we can't wait for all of our circumstances to be perfect to take care of ourselves. And so I teach you how, hopefully, a lot of tools and strategies to help you navigate life being lifey and you still taking care of yourself and reaching all of your goals. So with that intro, I would like to just spend the next 20 minutes answering any questions that you have to the best of my ability. To be clear, this is not a coaching session. This is Q&A about the program. So please just go ahead and raise your digital hand. It's under reactions. It should be under reactions. There's a raise hand button on your Zoom so that I can see you. And we'll take it from there. And if you feel like you'd like to come on camera, that would be beautiful. So I can put faces with names, but no pressure, of course. I really do appreciate everyone who's here and everyone who's on camera. It's great to see you all. You know, it's a Sunday. There's a lot of football going on in the US and other obligations. But this is just an opportunity to get your questions answered. There are only a handful of spots left, and registration will close in the next 2 to 3 days. So, this is your opportunity to make it or break it. This takes you through the holiday season, well into the new year, to carry you through what's typically the most stressful time of year. Yes, Susan.
Uh, Sorry about that. I muted.
No
Uh,
worries.
just wondering how big the group is. What size, how many people are in the group?
So the group is approximately 50 people. And what we do, and people go, oh, 50 people, like I'll never get the coaching that I need. There has never been a question that has been left unanswered. The only questions that are left unanswered are the ones that are not asked. Let's be clear on that. And what I do is, for those who want it, after about the first few weeks, I break you up into small subgroups, which I call pods, which of about 4 to 6 people, usually about 5 people or so, who would like to be in a smaller group to kind of maybe meet once a week. Again, this is optional to meet once a week to do mastermind groups. Some like to do book clubs together. Some are support buddies. So it really feels very intimate, even though 50 might sound like a large number. If it were ever to be more than 50, then I would be adding additional coaching time. There was some interest from a group in Europe that was not able, they don't feel like the times would work for them, but there would need to be a quorum of people from Europe ready and willing and available to add that on. But that's usually the size plus or minus a few people. Do you have any other questions, Susan?
Well, I was wondering, just looking at your webpage, access to a private conversation space. Is that this small pod that you're talking about?
No, I didn't want to use Facebook because it's so distracting and overwhelming for so many people. We use an app called Slack, which allows us to have group conversations. So Slack is the place where we would have the equivalent of what would be a Facebook group, where people can check in, book and get advice, get support between group sessions, and really get to know each other. The pods are also on Slack where you can come together and have even more private chats.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Vicky,
Hi, Dr. Joy.
great to see you.
Hey, so I know some of you here, and I'm not one to usually jump in and talk on BLE for some reason, but I just finished the 6 month course with her, and I just happened to jump on the last time she did a Q&A about her private coaching, and um, I just that second decided to join. I have been a hopeless volume eating, compulsive eater, binge eating disorder for I don't know how many years. I'm 63 and I just stopped. Battled it my whole life. I've been sober a lot of years. Gave up drugs 40 years ago. I grew up in the 70s. That's what we did in Los Angeles. But
Mhm.
don't judge me. But I don't even have the words to describe how good it is. And I've been in BLE for at least 5 years. I'm a huge fan. I love Susan. I did every boot camp. I followed, all the directions, but it's taken me till now, for some reason, being in this course to just apply the tools that she shared with us. And it's not about rigidity. Rigidity is another kind of disease. It's just somehow she has taught us to live in the middle. I can't even explain. I'm the most unarticulate person, but if you're even thinking about it or you think you need extra help, this is the best help in the whole wide world. And I have had good help all my life and nothing ever worked. So hopefully that helped. I'm a big fan.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I didn't ask her to be here, so that was spontaneous. And all of the testimonials that I share with you are spontaneous, by the way. I never solicit testimonials. So thank you for that. And, this is my purpose here on earth is to help you all find the help and healing that you've been spending decades looking for and not finding because I experienced the same in my own recovery journey. And so, if I can spare anyone not suffering and hopefully save any lives along the way, then my purpose has been fulfilled here. And it really is a positive domino effect. When one person in the group has a victory, we all have a victory, and we get to see the whole range. There are people who are well into their recovery and have been bright and abstinent for years now, like as long as 5 years, to people who are newly in recovery, struggling with binge eating, struggling with bulimia, struggling with restriction, or all of the above. And there's a place for everyone. We fall into a full spectrum in this group, and that allows us to both solidify recovery, to have aspiration and inspiration for where we want to head, and to hold out a hand to someone who needs support. And when we help someone, we are solidifying our own recovery. What is brand new to the group and exclusive only to my coaching clients are a 2-part binge eating recovery masterclass. It's called Breaking the Chains, a holistic approach to overcoming binge eating. This basically consolidates my 25 years of experience of helping people with binge eating disorder into about 5 hours. And you have immediate access to that the moment that you sign up. All of the recordings for the program, for the group, are on a portal which is hosted by a company called Teachable, which is a platform for courses. And the binge eating masterclasses, as well as intro nervous system and energy regulation masterclasses, are immediately available to you. If you sign up today, you'll have instant access to those things. And particularly, these masterclasses are not available anywhere else. They are my trademarked and patented techniques for helping you in these issues, and they are effective, and particularly in the binge eating recovery masterclass, Breaking the Chains. It's 2 parts. One is focused on first abstinence from binge eating. Part 2 is, okay, once we've got the binge eating out of control, how and when and if, how do we do healthy weight loss if that's a goal? And that needs to be a whole conversation, and there's a whole strategy to that in and of itself. And so again, this is 25 years of experience consolidated into about 5 hours, including like full PowerPoint presentations, the science behind it all, and a template and a strategy for you to move forward immediately on day one to just get started in your recovery. And this is not available anywhere else under any other framework or to any other people. Annie.
Okay, sorry. And
No worries.
I didn't mean to put my camera on because anyway, sorry. I'm a hot mess right now. Okay, so you get the camera. So how much time a week does this take to work on? How much time do you suggest? I know I'm not going to be able to make any of the live calls because of my work schedule,
That's
but
absolutely fine. I don't know if you were on earlier when I was explaining that. Some people have never attended a single live call for a variety of reasons and have reached all of their goals. So it is designed to be available to you on recording. The group sessions are 90 minutes, and that's 3 90-minute sessions per month. We have one Monday off each month for if you decide you want to be in a pod, either the pods meet on Mondays, or if you want some extra time to just watch the recordings and review materials, So the videos are 90 minutes, and then I assign some meditations for you to do, but at the beginning, it's really literally 3 minutes a day. So the time you could spend hours and hours if you like, because there's hours and hours and hours of recordings of my teachings available to you, which are also not available anywhere else. But it could be as little as 90 minutes a week spread out over while you're, doing food prep, cooking your dinner, driving to work, because it's all available on this video platform. So it tends to be really as much time as you want or as little time, as long as you're dedicating some focused time to yourself each week to make sure that your food is in order and you're taking a few minutes to regulate your nervous system. And the people who say they have no time for that absolutely need it the most, myself included. So I teach from experience when it comes to that for sure.
Thank you. With that being said, how long do we have the recordings and how long? I know this is a 6-month program, but then do we get the recording? Do we get to keep any of the recordings, or is it once it's gone, it's gone?
How it works is you have it through the end of the month in the final month. So you'll have all the recordings through the end of April 2025. If you choose to continue on, which as I said before, more than 50% of the people choose to continue on, you have continued access for as long as you're enrolled in one of my programs.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here, Annie. Susan, do you have another question?
I do. Thank
Great.
you. Vicki mentioned something about bright line eating. Do you follow that protocol, or is this different?
This is different than bright line eating. Many people in my program are bright line eaters, and that's how they found me, because I'm a consultant to bright line eating on issues related to eating disorders and food addiction. But it is not a requirement. And as Vicki said, this is not a cookie cutter. I work with you where you are on the kind of food plan that's optimal for you, whether that's a bright line eating type meal plan or some other meal plan. And a variety of options for meal plans, if you're suffering from binge eating disorder, are even described and laid out in those binge eating master classes as well. So it is absolutely not a requirement that you be a bright line eater, though many of the group members are bright line eaters, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Great question. Lauren, did you have questions? We had gotten some questions in our office from you, and I see that you're here. I don't mean to call you out, but I just wanted to make sure that your questions were adequately answered.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I just wanted to jump on and see. Sorry I was late. I just wanted to jump on and see what other things were being said.
Got it. And by the way, I will be sending out a recording of this session tomorrow morning. We'll send it out if you want to review it on any level, or anything else, or if there are friends that you have that wanted to be here that couldn't. The recording, it will go live on YouTube today, but if they need a link, it's on my YouTube channel. But there will also be an email tomorrow that will go out with the link in it as well, if anyone wants to review. And so there are different levels of support. It is a great segue. That was one of the questions that Lauren had, was like, what's the difference between just being in the group and having advanced support or plus or premium? And it's all laid out in the registration page, but I do know that there's a lot of information there. So the basic group is you attend the group sessions 3 times a month as they're offered, and you participate in the Slack group, and you get all the tools and information that is available to everyone. Enhanced support is if you want access to me between coaching sessions, and that takes place on the Slack app, which, don't freak out if you're not familiar with it. There are people in their 80s that have been in group that have never even been on any mobile apps at all, that have gotten accustomed to it. And it's pretty, once you understand the basic functionality is very user friendly. And I even have a video tutorial on how to use it. So don't stress about that. But there's a DM function on the Slack app where if you have a question about your food plan or something that you're struggling with or something that you need advice or guidance on, you can send me messages between sessions and I will get back to you. So it's basically having me at your fingertips between sessions, which even like regular coaches and therapists don't ever do. I am wildly available to every group member for the entire 6 months. My family doesn't like it, but I consider it a really important part of the recovery journey. Food is present all day, every day. We have to deal with it every day of the week, not just, 9 to 5. And so I really want to be there. I found that that was one of the things that was very pivotal in my own recovery many years ago was, having people that I could reach out to, not just in a 1-hour therapy session. And so I feel very strongly about this model because of the wide access that you have to me, which no one else has unless you're in my coaching program. Then if you'd like individual sessions, there's an option for 1 individual session a month for 6 months or 2. And those are the 4 levels of the program. So, believe it or not, we're almost at 30 minutes here. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? Wanda.
Yes, hi. I just
Hi.
wanted to pop on. I agree totally with Vicky. I did your program in 2020, and I can still picture myself when you were getting the group together and how lovingly you just guided us all. And so I just wanted to pop on and say how you have impacted my life. And I would highly recommend to anyone who would be on the fence that they would just give themselves the beauty of going through the program because it is so helpful. And thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And the group has really evolved even since 2020 because
Oh,
in
yes.
2020, I was still reluctant to share all of my energy management and nervous system regulation tools and meditation teachings and all the things that have been the real game changers. And so it's so much larger and more comprehensive now. So if you've done the group in prior years, especially 2021 or prior, please consider coming back because it's a whole new experience. And I've really worked hard to create an experience that is holistic, that is integrative, that addresses all parts of you, and that truly grows with you. People continue in the group not because they're not getting results, but because they're feeling so much better. And I create this safe container where we can be in the conversation of recovery together and continue to grow and evolve without limit. I do not believe in limits that we impose upon ourselves, and many of us are operating from very old, outdated tapes that are still running the show. So part of this process is learning to write a new story, and that is also not a one and done. It takes time and it takes repetition and being in daily conversation with like-minded people with similar goals, because the world will try to take us down. Life is always lifey. As I said before, life is always in session. And the people around us, as much as they love us, may also have a resistance to our changing and our evolving and our getting stronger. And so I give you all the tools that you need to navigate all of these different situations. Because we do not live in a bubble, even if we want to. We absolutely do not live in a bubble. And so part of this journey is, how do we navigate our relationships? Relationships are also a really big trigger for people. And we do a lot of conversation around setting healthy boundaries. And once you've set them, holding them, because setting a boundary that you don't keep is not very useful. So all of these things come into play. And we really focus on living in the solution in this group, right? We go dark, we go deep, we uproot all this stuff that you're dealing with, and then we move through it so that you end up, my goal is for each of you to be living in your own best light and really having the peace and freedom that you deserve. And each and every person is worthy of it. And there may be times where you feel uncomfortable, and I really encourage people to embrace the discomfort, because there's no change with no change. And if you're feeling super comfortable, then most likely then you're not embarking on any meaningful change. But we do it in a safe and slow way, so it's really individually tailored and calibrated to you, because obviously if someone's getting really overwhelmed and shutting down, then there's not going to be change happening either. And the group has just been really just an amazing community of loving support. However someone needs to show up on any given day, it's all okay. And so with that, thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful. And again, signups are probably going to end on Tuesday. So if you're interested, I encourage you to just take the plunge. I don't, as Vicki shared and Wanda shared, I have never had people say that they regret it. That said, it does take two to tango. This is always a collaboration. I can't wave a magic wand over you and take everything away. You have to show up for your part, and I always show up for my part. And my goal is always, I have big promises that I make to you, and my goal is always to over deliver on all of your expectations and hopes, because I take this very, very seriously. It is a sacred privilege to do this work. In many ways, you are putting your life in my hands, and I take that with the utmost responsibility and seriousness. And so if you're ever struggling or having a hard time, I want to know about it so that I can support you. I don't want to find out 4 months later that you've been suffering in silence. So that communication piece is super important. But again, I believe that recovery should be joyful as much as it's tough and difficult and uncomfortable. There can be so much joy and relief in the process, and I feel that that has really been left out of the conversation of recovery. So join me in joyful recovery. Come get it while it's hot. You will be so surprised, and I hope just elated at the changes that can happen when you really show up for the process. So thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day, and hopefully I'll see you on November 4th. Much love.